Hey everybody, we're here at Jaibella Beauty Bar, and I have who is underscore Sammy Austin with me, and we're gonna get into a little bit of him talking about himself, and then we're gonna talk about relationships and statistics and advice and topics about relationships tonight. So I'm gonna get started with Sammy Austin, and he's gonna tell me about himself.
All right. Hey everybody, my name is Sammy Austin. Again, she said my Instagram is who is underscore Sammy Austin's SAMIIAUSTIN. I am a artist in every sense of the word. Graphic designer, rapper, dancer, fashion person, whatever you want to call it, whatever you can put artist on and put it in a pot, my hand in there. So that's who I am.
Awesome. Yes, definitely. He is definitely always dressed to the nines, definitely always fashionable. And also, I chose Sammy Austin because of the fact that he is in a relationship that he has been in for 10 plus years. Very good relationship. And I felt like he had something to offer us as far as with this particular topic. And then also, he is the person that did my logo for the beauty bar. So we're going to start with some questions and basically just wanting to ask, your perspective on a successful relationship and how do you obtain that? How do you get to that point?
Okay. So my perspective on a successful relationship, um, first I'll say that it's really defined by you and who you are. I think a lot of the times people think about getting into a relationship and you automatically, well, one, you start thinking very selfishly in what you want in this person, but then you also have to think about what this person is wanting and expecting from you. So you really have to jump into it with the teamwork aspect for it to work. But then at the same time, you have to know yourself.
Mm.
So while you are looking like, okay, this is what I want from you, this is what I need you to give me, it's like, okay, what am I going to give? What do I know I offer? What do I have to bring to the table? What are my traumas, my strengths, my weaknesses? Like, you got to know all of that about yourself. Like, you have to be a well-rounded individual, or at least in the process,
Mm-hmm.
so that way when you find your significant other and y'all connect, y'all are able to kind of see off rip where y'all going. Because
Mm.
you can tell within the first couple months, you already know if this don't work or not. Red flags and all. Like, you know if it's gonna work.
Red flags.
Red flags and all.
So, do
But
you think you should pay attention to red flags?
yes and no.
Mm.
I would say yes and no. And the reason I say that yes is because they are automatically showing you who they are up front.
Mm.
So nothing is essentially is really a surprise. Because you already know. Now, with that, you kind of know what you are ready to deal with or what you are willing to deal with. Like I always say, it's a joke that I say to my friends all the time. Like within my relationship, I will stick and ride this thing till the wheels fall off, and I got to pick that bitch up and carry myself before I get back out there because seeing what a lot of them got to go through,
Ooh.
no. I'd rather deal with his bullshit before I deal with anybody else's bullshit.
Yes.
So it's like you have to pick and choose. For one, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
So a red flag, yes, is a red flag, but it people change for one. Two, again, you just know what you're getting into. If it's something that you're not ready for, something you don't see yourself dealing with, or something that you don't feel like you can help that person change, you can opt out at that point. So yes, you want to keep them in mind, but it also doesn't warrant like I just can't deal with you. Like that's it. It
Mm.
just depends. Like you have to. It's almost like choosing your battles. You have to choose your partner. Like you're choosing your partner, and your partner is your battle. Y'all have to fight for it to be successful. So,
Basically, choose the person that you're willing to go through hell and back with.
yep, because it's going to be held and back. When you get in a relationship, you're not getting in a relationship with a time frame. When you get in a relationship, your mindset is, I see myself being with this person. I can see myself marrying this person. And then when you get into, okay, I see myself marrying this person, you're thinking about vows, what marriage is. Marriage is supposed to be forever. So forever is a long time.
Mm,
So you can't expect, it's not realistic for you to think that forever is going to be happy.
mm.
Forever is going to be very up and down, very roller coaster, very round and round we go. Like it's all of that. And I think I actually said this at a friend of mine's wedding reception. You think about for better or for worse. Everybody always thinks for better, but you have to be prepared for the for worse. Like you
Mm.
can't run from that for worse because it is literally going to be that. Y'all will be up here some days and then sometimes y'all gonna be down here. But it's like when you're down here, well, rather when you're up here, y'all are good. But when you're down here, it's not let me think about how I can get out of this. It's like how do we get back up here? And that's
Mm.
what people forget.
Yeah, because when you going through problems, and this is the thing, a lot of people when they have relationship issues, they kind of go to the wrong person for
Hmm.
advice. Or sometimes it just so happens where that person is kind of, in the right time, the right time or whatever, right place, and you're talking to them and you're filtering out the things that you're going through, and that person could either not really want the best for you, or they really don't have that structured advice where they can actually give you good advice in that situation. Because when you are going through things with the person, you kind of got to learn to be able to say, you know what, my pros, my cons. If this person is not, doing my total bottom list things that I'm just like so against, if they're not disrespecting me, they're disloyal, if this person respects me, then I don't have a problem with trying to work with this
Hmm.
person and trying
Absolutely.
to fix things within our situation
Hmm.
rather than just always running. And sometimes it's the mental, it's where a person is, it's what a person comes from. Because your relationship prior or situations before could have guarded you in a way till it's like, okay, I'm not going to put up with this. So when I see a particular sign or something, then that's an issue. That's a huge red flag, because this I've seen this before. So you kind of just, you try to go south of the border. And then some
Hmm.
people use that, that's a control mechanism. Like, I don't want to be with you, just to get a reaction or to just feel like you're in control. In all aspects of it, I've been, down that road where it's like, okay, you're doing certain things to get a reaction.
Hmm.
What I'm saying? Because you're used to this or whatever the case may be. One thing that I was looking at when I was doing research, studying statistics and stuff about relationships, and I saw where, it was saying statistically speaking that people would prefer to date someone that they mention on the first date that, hey, I got a mental therapist.
Hmm.
Because then that means that your state of mind, your mindset is together, because that's one of the biggest things when you're dating somebody, in your relationship with somebody, where their mental is. Are they really prepared for a relationship? Where are they? And that, like, are they financially stable?
Hmm.
Are they in a circumstance because they're just trying to survive? Where are they mentally, and are they prepared? And it's like, when you're looking at people that are dating, is that important? Like, do you feel like that's important to you?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I think you touched on a real good point. And it ties in with your mental, and it also ties into what I said earlier. Noticing those red flags and those things that trigger you or trigger your traumas, which everybody has. And again, you can't run from that. So again, when you're in your relationship, it's a partnership. So when you're in your partnership, you have to again go into this like, hey, this is what I got, good and bad. Can you deal with this?
Mm,
Other person giving you the same thing. This is what I have, good and bad. Can you deal with this? Or can you help me with this? This is something that I want to deal with.
mm-hmm.
So with those triggers, again, like you said, people run from that. Like they track stars out of there. But it's like you can't run from your traumas because it's going to be this person, then it's going to be the next person that's going to trigger another trauma. Like you have to at some point address your traumas.
Mm,
And that's why I said you have to know yourself.
mm,
Like I recently went through this whole revelation, like I was just like, okay, I know we're good. We've been together 10 years, but I know I and we can be better. So it's like there was a lot of things that I had to dig up and I had to address. And it's like you have to do that. You have to have those moments with yourself because it's bigger than you. So once you are your best self for you, you can be your best self for your partner or anybody else that you're interested in.
Absolutely. That's so true. Was it hard for you to have to face that, like to dig up
Yeah.
the things that you possibly don't even want to talk about?
I was, and I'll share it in a short story. So I had just turned 30 on December 2nd. And like, usually when you wake up and it's your birthday, they're like, how you feel to be whatever age. And you're like, I mean, it's another day. But I don't know. It's something about 30, and I've been hearing that from everybody. It was something about 30 where it's just like it literally was like a light switch. Like I woke up and I felt different. I was like, I don't know what this is. I can't explain it, can't put my finger on it, but I knew that something about me was different. And it was like me starting a brand new journey. Like it literally was a brand new chapter. Shortly after that, leading into Christmas, I caught COVID. So, like we were actually supposed to be out of town. Like the whole family, me and my mom, both my sisters, my dad, we were supposed to go see grandma, all the good stuff. And all of us caught COVID. So we all had to, quarantine. And in that time of quarantining, like that was 14 days of me sitting with, like, literally me sitting with me. And it was like, I haven't done this. Like it's a lot of things that my mind was so conditioned to get away from. And when I sat with myself for 14 days, like I sat with those thoughts, all those old thoughts that I was able to get away from by making myself busy or being concerned with something else. Like I couldn't run away from that. So what I did was I wrote a letter, two letters. I wrote a letter to my old self and a letter to my new self or the person that I was becoming. If I tell you, I was in the room and I'm just writing. And it's something about like when you talk to yourself and you have to say certain things, both good and bad, how hard that is. Like I didn't realize not only how hard it was to say or dig up and actually speak my traumas to myself, like, hey, this is what you had to deal with. This really happened. This made you who you are, but at the same time, this is not going to hold you back anymore. You are this smart person. You are this talented person. You are very attractive. You are this. You are that. And it's like in both of those moments, I literally was sitting there crying, like as I was writing. And my fiance had came back and he was like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Let me just let me just have a moment. We'll talk about it." And that was something that I also wasn't used to. Like I'm one person where it's like something bothered me. It's like I'll deal with it. Like I'll be good. I'm real like stone cold closed off. And I was like, I can't be like that. And I had to take a phrase from a movie we just watched. It's like to get something different, you have to do something different.
Absolutely.
So at that moment, after I wrote those letters, like I shared it with, like I read it to him, and like we had a moment, we talked, and it's like the feeling that I had, I was like, this is new. I still don't know how I feel about it, but I like where it's going. I think between December 2nd and January 1st, I cried more times than I have cried in like the last 20 years.
And that's the thing too. Like that's the hardest thing to go through decades with someone. You know what I'm saying? And because in different phases in your life you change. Like who I was when I was 21. I'm not that person anymore.
Absolutely.
25, I'm not that person anymore. 30, I'm not that girl anymore. You're constantly evolving and progressing. So it's like now, November, I'm gonna be turning 35. 35, right? 35. Like that's a big year. And I am proud of myself and the accomplishments that I've made. But think about when you're in a relationship with somebody and you're constantly changing. That person is going through those changes with you and you're evolving. It's amazing to be able to say that I still can love this person and still care about this person, although I'm progressing. And I'm not that person, you might have been, because of course you were super young when y'all got together. And it's like, you could have been a broken, toxic person, because we're just young. When we're young, we're just doing all kind of
Doing
stuff.
whatever.
But now you're more mature. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're coming into the person that you want to be and all those good things. And y'all are still like this. And that's the amazing thing about it. One thing that I look at a lot too is zodiacs. Like a lot of people, I know a lot of people are like getting on that now, but I've always
Yeah.
been into that, right? And I've always noticed it to be really true. So it's like when you have like certain, like I know my most compatible sign is Cancer. That's my most compatible sign. I know the signs that I don't really get along with as far as a relationship. That's Taurus. Like, and it says it like I think Scorpios can kind of get along with everybody, but the Taurus is like a sign that you really like. You kind of got to force the situation. It can work, but you're forcing it, and it's so true because I can feel it. So it's like when you're in your relationship, do you feel that pull and stuff between the Sagittarius and the Cancer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny because, like I said, he's a Cancer, I'm a Sagittarius. He's a water sign, I'm a fire sign. When you just think about the elements in itself, water and fire, that don't work. That don't work. But the thing is, it's also how you look at it. Yeah, I look at it to an extent so I can kind of gauge your personality and again know what I'm kind of getting myself into. But it's something about that opposites attract thing. Because it definitely, even though we are completely different, like again, he's a Cancer, I'm a Sag, water, fire. He a homebody. I like to be outside. Like it's completely different, but on those things that we completely mesh with, like mesh about, like that's what pulls us and fuels us at the same time, and it creates a balance. Because even though your zodiac may tell or be very telling of your personality, not all of those personality traits are great. I think all zodiacs have their good trait and their toxic trait.
Yes.
One thing that he slowed me down so much because I could only imagine how on go I would be. Like a lot of my friends be like, you always on go, but I can only imagine how on go I would be if I was single or if I was with somebody else. So he slowed me down a lot, and I actually appreciate that because it gives me a sense of like stability. Because sometimes as a Sag, we're very spontaneous. So it's like I could think it, and I'm like, I'm ready to do it like tomorrow. I ain't put no real thought into what it is I'm about to do. I just go for it. If it makes sense to me, that's all that matters. But like dealing with him, it's like, okay, let me think about it. Does this really make sense? How is this going to affect my future personally and within my relationship? Because it's not just me. Like I have to consider a whole nother human being. And then now with us being 10 years plus, I have to consider our families because now our families are involved.
Yes.
Like he's known my family for quite some time. I've known his family for quite some time. So essentially, in some way, shape, or form, it affects way more people than just myself.
Right.
So he slowed me down, and in certain ways, I've kind of picked him up. Like, all right, let's get up and let's do something. Because now it's like, even if it's something small now versus him sitting in the house, he'd be like, let's go get ice cream. We went on, I think this past month, we done been on like 4 or 5 ice cream dates just to get out the house. And it's like, that's not like him. Usually he will be okay with just sitting in the house. So the opposites attract can work.
Yeah.
It just depends on how y'all take and pick pieces from each other. So
Yeah. You definitely like, I know like with me, I am like a homebody, but because of the nature of things and my business and all the stuff that I'm doing, it keeps me constantly on the go. And then just being able to just be like flexible, I started learning to like, okay, let me get out, let me network, let me go here, let me do this. Because you can like, you get stuck in your element. And to me, that's not good. Like you got to get out. Sometimes you just got to see something different. Even like with working, when I'm doing stuff, for my business, like sometimes I can't even be here doing it because it's like, okay, I need to get in a different environment so I can work. And then it just kind of clears your mind to where you can think. And so it's like when you look at different relationships and you think about zodiacs and stuff, you do. I think a lot of times before I would get into a situation, I would look at that. And I think like my closest friendships, my closest, everything, I always knew like, okay, it's the Cancer, right? And then when you look at different other elements where it's like, okay, it's not just the zodiac, it's also who that person is, like their upbringing. What did they come from? Did they come from survival, or did they come from love? Did they come from, a chaotic environment? Like, who raised them? You know what I mean? What are their core value systems?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do they view things? When you look at, like when I look at like the different statistics and the things that I was looking at online, and it was like I was looking at the different things that play into relationships. And it's like when you're in a relationship, finances, that's a big thing. Finances. And it's like people normally kind of like go back and forth about the finances and, just your job and different things. Do you find it challenging as far as finances?
I think it comes and goes in phases. Because we started with each other so young, him being older than me, I was a little more like free with my money. Like I done made it, especially when I started actually making my own money. Because when we met, I was in college, so I was a broke college student. So it's like if I got used, look, I got used to spending everybody else's money but mine. So because I'm very spoiled, that was my upbringing. And also, it's a gift and a curse because I know sometimes he be like, "You was wearing my card then." I don't be trying to be like no city girl or nothing, but it's like, if you gonna pay for it, go ahead. But no, I don't. Sometimes I'm like, no, don't. I'll do it. I'll do it. Let me do it. But no, sometimes it can be. For me, at first, it was a challenge because it's like, okay, you're an adult now. You got to grow up. Everything's not going to be easy. You have to sacrifice. And that's just a big thing in a relationship in general is sacrificing. But financially, I had to really weigh like, what do I need or what do we need? Because again, it's not just about me. What do we need? What do we want? What are our goals financially? Like, where are we trying to be in the next 5, 10, however many years? So it's like you kind of go accordingly. Like you have to make sure business is taken care of first, or like back in the day they say you gotta make sure home is good before anything else. So it be times where it's like, look, we ain't got no money like how we wanted to be doing all this extravagant living, but guess what? Bills is paid.
Yes,
so you
absolutely.
can, at the end of the day, anybody can say, "Oh, y'all don't ever be out. Y'all don't do this. Y'all don't do that." But the bills is paid.
Y'all seem like y'all always be out. I be like,
I know, right?
I look up, it's like these two going somewhere else.
Somewhere again.
Yes.
But no, it's like as long as the bills are paid, we are good. But we also push each other to strive for our goals, whether it's our relationship goals or personal goals. Because I mean, it all at the end of the day costs money. So if we know we gotta save, and I'm like talking about, "Ooh, I want these shoes so bad." He's like, but you gotta pay for this, that, and the third. So do you really need those shoes? So it's just like, okay, you calling me out. I appreciate it, but it's like if he wasn't the additional voice on the back of my head, I wouldn't be really where I need to be. But having that support financially, even without him giving his finances, is definitely important.
Yeah, because a lot of times, and I've noticed this, like even for people that are single, you're so used to just moving just for you. Once you get in a relationship with somebody, and especially if you're with somebody that is a stickler for finances or credit, then you start to see your true self. So if you're not a person that is, at the same place as far as, okay, I got a budget, I got to keep my credit good, then it becomes a tussle. It becomes a problem. Like I notice in most relationships, most women, they'll go shopping and they got to sneak stuff in the house. And it's like you sneak it in the house because like you're not supposed to be buying it. But then it's like when you're single, you can maneuver how you want to, you can shop how you want to, but then you don't have that person in the back of your, standing there saying, listen, you can't be doing that. So it's like that partnership, it balances you. It keeps you on track. But the finances can be a big problem. That is one of the most important causes of breakups is the finances. Either the person is not financially where they need to be, or one of the individuals, they're so horrible with money or credit and they're constantly fighting, and then it causes, outside interruptions to come inside of the situation. And it's like, I know, like with me, credit is important. And it took me, I think because everybody's life experiences is different, you know. Fresh out of college, you're living this life like you're married, and now you're having a child. So it's like your setup is so different. So it's like, credit is important. It's like I kind of started out young. Like my setup of goals and things was, it was young because I was living a different type of lifestyle. So for the past 8 years, I would say, and I can probably go back further than that, but just the past 8 years, I would say, like, I've had to be so responsible, you know what I'm saying, and make sure that everything makes sense. And even if I wasn't budgeting at the best, I was making sure, I'm improvising, I'm putting the finances. But then when you come together with someone, and then this person has goals, and then you have your own goals, that stuff have to collide together so you can actually agree when it comes to the finances. Somebody has to be in charge of that, because the other person, is not going to always be two people that are good with finances together.
Yeah,
it never works that way.
Look, not starting off
right.
It can definitely get there, because
it can get there.
It's like we both, like, it's like an unspoken understanding that our promise is that we're not going to settle for anything. So if I say I want, matter of fact, one of my things, and it's something I'm working on, and not if, we're going to stay on track and it's going to happen, but I want to get a Jeep. I'm going to get that Jeep. We want a house, but we want it how we want it. We don't want to settle for something that we're not going to like. If we go in a house, like, we've been in plenty of houses, and it's just like, no, that ain't it. No, that ain't it. I don't like these walls. I don't like that tile. I don't like this. I don't like that. So we want to build our own. Like, we don't want to settle for anything at all. So that is one of those things that fuel us. So it's like, now we may not be there, but we're going to get there. So we have an understanding of what we're going to sacrifice, but we also have an understanding of where we're trying to get to.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about, the things that you want, I'm a huge believer, like, whenever you want something, you write it down. Write it down. Be consistent with it, and always speak it into existence, because it's important and it will come to fruition. Like, whatever you say you want, it is so funny. Like, I always do that. And it's like, now, like I was saying the other day, because I'm gonna do a big vision board party or whatever, and I'm doing it because it's time for new goals. I've accomplished those goals that I had written down. I'm like, it's time for new goals. I want different things now. And you write it down, and it's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
It's gonna take place. But when it comes to, like, even statistics, like, I was looking online and I saw, like, even the ratio, like, here in Atlanta. Oh my God, it is so hood here, like you were saying earlier.
It's ghetto.
Woo.
Very ghetto.
It's very ghetto. The day and see, when I be talking to women and I be listening to stuff, and it's so funny because my friends will call me up just to get my opinion. And they will tell me the things that they have encountered, and I'd be like, what?
Right.
Did he really do that? It's like the ratio with women to men. I was looking online, and it was like, it's 1,100 women to 1,000 men. And I was like, golly, this is why these men be having
The pool is real.
It is so bad. And then I was even looking at, like, for instance, I was looking at places to date or states to live in for dating. Texas was on there. Florida was on there. I know they were talking about Miami, but Florida was on there. They was talking about, like, Tallahassee. And I remember when I was in Tallahassee, oh my God, Tallahassee was so small. So of course, right? Orlando was on there. and just different cities. Of course, Atlanta was nowhere on that list. And it's funny because a lot of women here, you got like powerful women here. And I'm not saying you don't have powerful women anywhere else, but the women in Georgia, the women that I've come across, so many amazing women. And a lot of times when I'm listening to women, they're educated, they have their finances together, but here is not together. So women tend to settle for situations, will accept certain things, messing with married men, not saying, you're a bad person or whatever because you mess with a married man, but I'm just saying everybody's circumstance, their past, everything that people choose, messing with married men, dealing with a man that has several different women. And so I was listening to someone today and we were talking about a situation and I was just like, we're quick to say, how could you be doing that, this and this and that? But in reality, some people be at certain places in their life where certain things is just like, okay, whatever. I don't care.
You're not.
Yeah, it's okay. You can do this right now because right now I don't really care. I just want you for this reason. What you're doing outside of that, it's okay. But statistically speaking, when you're looking at the ratio, women to men, it's horrible. So it's basically, if you want to find a mate, if you're a woman and you're looking for a man, you need to move to a whole nother state.
At this point.
You can't live in Atlanta.
At this point.
You can't live here.
It's like very Dateline, Lifetime, Love and Hip Hop. Yeah. It's giving more Love and Hip Hop and less Housewives of Atlanta. That's what it seems like.
It's horrible. And even I was looking at, like, it was so funny because I'm sitting here doing my research and I'm talking to my friend. And she had a friend of hers she was talking to right quick. And I said this, I'm like, okay, where to meet rich men? And I guess in his mind, he's like, she looking to meet rich men? No, I'm doing my research. And it's sad. And this is the thing, it's funny because it's true. So you could go to like grocery stores, high-end gyms and things like that where you would meet a man. Definitely on this list, it was not a club. It was definitely not a club, not a lounge, not a club. A lot of people, when we're, in that space, we're sociable. So we're meeting people in these lounges and these clubs and, just different environments. But depending on where you are, because you could be at a nice, lounge, a bar, and you kind of meet a guy that's like upper echelon, high value man, high value woman. But you do have to, when you're dating someone or you're trying to get to know someone, you do need to know exactly who you are as a person. You got to know who you are as what you said. You got to know what you want. So when you're dating someone, and this is what we were talking about earlier, when you're dating someone, you set those boundaries. You know how to, cipher out all of the BS because it's like, okay, I don't want that. So I'm not going to accept that. But if you're willing to accept it, then that's what you'll get. And so it's like when I'm looking at everything and just seeing like all the relationships and how many women, and I mean women that don't even have children, are settling because the pool here is like empty. There's no more men. Like, what is going on? Like, what's happening?
It's just a drought. It's a drought of everything.
I'm like, men, like, where are the men in Atlanta? Like, where are they? And it's funny because when I talk to my guy friends, everybody's like, well, what are good women at? Like, there's no good women here. And I'm like, what? You got amazing single women here. Beautiful women.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They're looking under the wrong rock. That's what they're doing. They're looking under the wrong rocks and barking up the wrong trees.
I mean, so for women, like, what do you like when you're dating a guy or when you're looking to date a guy? What do you need to be looking for when you're looking for a man? And where do you need to go?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. And it's crazy because I actually I think my situation is a little different. I actually met Vanek at a house party. So it wasn't a party setting. However, it wasn't an intimate setting. So it's like the people whose party it was that we both knew mutually, um, they kind of spoke to who we were as people. So it's like there was already, in a sense, an established trust there. It's like, okay, you know this person, I'm good with them, and you have a similar relationship with them. So I can kind of already tell like where you are here based off of your connection with them. So
Right, whether you're a good person or
yeah,
not.
it was already there. Now we were again both young, so I mean it was still a little bit of toxicity there on both parts, but it was still there was a good baseline. Um, and it's crazy because it was in Tallahassee, and that was
Mm.
on the list. That's because
Hmm.
that's what you get them while they're young.
Oh yes, that's
Get them
true
while they're young
too.
and train them up the right way. But no, I just think it you just should. It's not really where you go. I think it's more so what it is you're looking for.
Mm.
Because you can find somebody at a grocery store, like you said, you can find somebody at a club, you can find somebody at a gas station. The interesting ways I've heard of the weirdest ways some people have met their significant others. Like one of
What
my
about,
cousins, she met her husband through her ex boyfriend.
huh?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. So it's just like I mean, you just never really know. And that's also the thing, like when it comes to relationship, really when it comes to life, period, there's no handbook. So it's like I think the way that we have certain narratives set up, we're conditioned with that, which is fine. Because I mean, it's like to each his own. Sometimes it works for them, sometimes it don't. But it's
Hmm.
like sometimes the unforeseen happens. So it's
Mm.
really about being open. Um, it's about being able to embrace change too. Because I think what you said earlier was just talking about even with your signs, like thinking about who you're compatible with, which is good. So you kind of know off rip, yeah, I know your personality. We should be good. But then when you think about it, it's like being compatible with something means that that's something that you could easily get comfortable with.
Mm.
And like you said, when you sit in that comfort, you're not growing when you sit in comfort.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm the type of person that I like a challenge, and that's I think again why we work because he challenges me, and I definitely challenge him. So it's like you have to. It's all about your mindset. It's like sometimes you have to change your mindset a little bit, or at least be open to any possible change. So it's like you may have this list, like I want, he got to look like this, got to have this body, this weight, this height. You got to have a beard. You got to have a non-receding hairline. Like you got to have all of this stuff. But it's like when you got this bald dude who may got a little dad bod, like he's willing to like give it to you, like give you what you're asking for.
Hmm.
If you got a list of 10 things and he's giving you a strong 7, but you want the 3, the weight, the height, in the hair or the muscles, it's like are you like where are you at? Like what is it that
Yes.
you are looking for? Because clearly what it is you're looking for out of that list may not be important. So it's about prioritizing what it is that you really want in your spouse, because a lot of those like front facing things, all of that can change.
Oh, yes, it does.
Like that dad bod can turn to a 6 pack real quick
Yes.
with the right push. Like,
That physical appearance can always change. The most important thing that I've learned, and a lot of times when you see men, and I'm not going to say just men, you got women too that are broken.
mhm.
But when you're dealing with men based off of where they're coming from, their childhood, the upbringing, a lot of them are broken. They don't know how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how, and that's the thing when you're in a relationship. Communication, it's superior to everything.
Mhm.
You need to be able to communicate. Like we got to be able to communicate effectively too, not just yes,
That's the
not
one.
not
That's the one. That's the
yes,
that's the word. It's not just communicate, because
exactly.
I can communicate and be on 10,
Yes,
but that doesn't mean that that's effective.
that's not effective at all. Toxicity. Like I remember when I was in my 20s, I pop off, but now I will shut down so quickly if somebody is yelling at me. Like
Mhm.
I'm not that dialect. I can't respond to. I won't even listen to it. I shut it out. I will not entertain it. If I feel like a person is talking to me reckless, I think I'm going to reconsider even our situation, because it's like, why you got to talk like that? You don't know how to handle a conversation? Mm-hmm. What's going on in here? Yeah. That's why that mental is so important, where people are and what they come from. Is a person willing to sit on somebody's couch? I think that that's important, because I think in our culture, everybody needs to sit on someone's couch. Mm-hmm. So you need to be open to that. You know, if it's an issue, or we sit on someone's couch together, because if there's an issue mentally, something that you're dealing with that causes you to react belligerent, make you react, and toxicity, it's something wrong. Something is not balanced. And so that's the important thing. The finances, the sex needs to be good. I'm sorry, I hear this all the time.
I mean,
the sex has to be good.
You gotta be pleased. If you're not satisfied, then it's like
what? Like,
what are we really doing here?
The sex has to be good. You need to be able to travel together. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't be, you got to be able to explore the world together. You got to have goals together. Your finances got to be together, because we got to be able to live good, live comfortably. Like, everybody doesn't want to be rich, but you want to be able to get up and say, I want to go shopping. I want to go travel this month. I want to do this. I want to buy this. You want to be able to do those things. You don't have to be rich. You can live comfortably. The rich is not always happy.
Right. Absolutely not.
And so when I look at situations, it's just like with the Will and Jada situation. And everybody is talking about this situation. And some people feel like his reaction was everything to do with a backlash of their relationship and stuff being in the media. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand that relationships, when you're able to have a relationship in secret and private, and not saying that you keep that person, away from your family and stuff, but just basically that it's not in the public eye where you can be with someone. It's easier to deal with in that way versus having a relationship and you're in the public eye. And everybody is, testing your relationship, judging your relationship. And so people are looking at it like it was a buildup for him. Mm-hmm. And then other people looking at it like, okay, well, he was okay with it. But then when he looked over at Jada, she was not. So he had to react. And then some people are even questioning his manhood. Like, okay, who's wearing the pants in that situation? Because her reaction, just a look, gave him the notion that he needed to get up and slap the mess out of Chris Rock. And I'm just like, what? Like, I was so shocked when I saw him do that, because I didn't watch the Oscars, but I saw the freaking video, and that my first reaction was, is this a skit?
Yeah, I think everybody thought that at first. Like, is this real? It's one of them things where it's like shock value because the ratings was low. Like, what's going on? But yeah, I think everybody was a bit taken. They cap was off. I was utterly confused. I was like, Will Smith? William? Really? Willie from Philly? You
right.
You laying the WWE.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like,
I was so thrilled. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to wait till this video goes viral or something before I believe that. Because I think we were actually on a couple's trip, and one of our friends had said something about it. I'm like, I don't buy that. That's probably just
a skit,
something that they done put out there. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. And I think I knew when it got serious. Like, after he slapped him and he sat down and he started yelling, I was like, oh no, he for real.
Yes.
Like, it was, to me, no question. I said, nah, it's all in the, I tell you, the power of the tongue. I felt that. And he wasn't even talking to me. I was like, yeah, He's
serious, no doubt about it. He's serious. That's what I felt too. Like, once I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely serious. He's not joking about that. The thing about it is like, even the reaction of people, and it's like, I remember listening to Jim Carrey, like a lot of actors that I love and respect spoke out on this situation. And when I listened to what Jim Carrey said, and he said how, people are basically numb to so much now, till it's like, people can do anything now and just get away with it. It's like, stuff is not, celebrities and the plateau that they were on, it's like they're no longer held to a certain standard.
Mm.
And it's like the things that's happening, like you're seeing a different experience. Like everything was like so classy,
Mhm.
everything was done a certain way. Like Will and Jada was like that couple.
Right.
Everybody was comparing their relationship to Will and Jada. Everybody was like, Will and Jada, Will and Jada, Beyonce and Jay-Z, like all of those people. And it's like one thing that I always notice about Beyonce and Jay-Z, they still keep that standard. That's why that like they're my most favorite because they're so real, raw, and uncut, but they're private.
Mhm.
And they stick to that. They do not play about their relationship and their privacy because you need that privacy. Imagine like going through, a phase where, your wife is cheating on you, or your spouse is cheating on you, or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and it's like the whole world got to go through it with you,
Mhm.
and then everybody's judging you.
Got opinions.
Yes.
Put their 2 cents in. To me, it's just like, and I think it takes being sometimes, not all the time, because I think I had this conversation in a group chat with one of my single friends. He was like, I mean, I'm single and I get it. So I definitely don't want to say single people don't get it, but I think it does take to be in a certain level of a relationship to like really get it. Because it's like at the end of the day, like you said, everybody's judging it. They're picking it apart. They want to put their opinions in, but it's like, whose relationship is this?
Mm.
Like, is it y'all's or theirs? So if she want to be out here doing whoop de whoop with whoever, y'all don't know what they got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't know what conversations is going on behind the scenes. They could be as open as QT 24 hours a day. That's their business. That ain't for everybody to know. Like y'all want them to wear it on their forehead. Yeah, we got an open relationship. She's free to do what she wants. That's
Right.
not y'all relationship nor y'all business. Yeah, they in a public eye, but they are still people who deserve private moments.
Yes.
So it's like, and that's why, like, when it comes to a lot of things, not even just this, like a lot of things when it comes to celebrities, I'm not too quick to have an opinion until I kind of do like further research on my own or kind of like really get a good understanding, which is usually after they speak on it, because it's like you don't know the conversations that are being had behind the scenes. Like you only see the reactions, you only
Right.
see what's caught, but like what about what's not caught? What about the conversations we don't hear?
Mm-hmm.
So with that whole thing, I was just like, hey, mm, they
So, do
both
you
was
think the
wrong.
slap was justified?
Putting your hands on someone is never justified. However, sometimes things are warranted.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I feel like you disrespect my wife because if somebody ever, and everybody know I am quiet, I am chill, I don't do confrontation. To this day, Lord, thank you. For 30 years, I ain't never been in no fight because I ain't
Oh.
never had to. Because one thing about me, when I say what I say, I mean it. Like,
Oh.
I'm very needy. I said what I said. If you want to try it, you can feel free to, but understand the consequences that come behind that. To my point, you
Right.
gotta you gotta understand what the consequences are. So granted, it wasn't 100% justified. That was his consequence for doing that.
Right.
Because again, Will and Jada are in a relationship. That's his wife that he has to protect, that he has to console when she's down. So yeah, in the beginning, he probably thought it was funny. He probably was laughing because everybody else was until it processed. And then again, when he looks over and sees that she's like utterly pissed, not even just like, oh, this Negro just tried it. Like she was like, you can see the disgust on her face
Mm-hmm.
could have
Mm-hmm.
melted,
Mm-hmm.
could have melted metal.
Mm.
So again, as a husband seeing that, it's like, yeah, it's go time. It's like that with your son. If you see somebody disrespecting your son or somebody say something sideways, even if it's a little funny, you probably like, wait a minute, hold on. That was a good one, but not this one. And I think that's what it was. It was more of like, okay, that was a good one because I think he understands in a sense.
Yeah.
They're comedians. They gonna say some BS
Yes.
to get a rise out of people. So I think that's more so what it was. It's like, hi, that was a good one, but not this one.
Yeah.
So what came after that was just the consequence of what he said. Just like now, Will has to deal with the consequences of what he did. So I feel like in a sense they both were wrong, but
I concede that. I agree because I feel bad for the both of them.
Mhm.
I really do because it's like Will. Like I've been looking up to Will. I love his show. My son loves his show. Like, and my son is 12 and he actually watches that show.
Yeah.
And it's like anything that Will Smith is in, to me, he's up there with Denzel. Anything Denzel is in, I'm watching it.
Mhm.
I don't care what, I'm watching it, right? But it's like to see him in this light, it made me really hurt for him because I was
Yeah.
like, wow, like he's really taking himself out of himself. And it's like he's reacting in a way that everybody is shocked.
Mhm.
And then it's like people were like showing clips of like one time when he slapped this guy that jumped up and kissed him. He was like,
That's what it's like.
yeah, and it's like that was definitely warranted a slap. Like what the F? Like you
Right.
gonna kiss me in my mouth? I'm a man,
Right.
and you
then
getting
I
up.
don't know you. Like, and I think that was just like a natural reaction. Like, I'm not really paying attention, and now you just in my like what?
Yes, like I'm a man in my position, and you just gonna jump up. I'm a celebrity. I got a wife, I got a family, and I don't even know you. We don't know nothing about you.
I'm
You jump
about
up
to say celebrity or not. That's like
slap them. That's true.
Back up.
Right.
First off, COVID. Yeah. But no, it's like no, for real. Like that's respecting personal space.
Yes,
that point.
absolutely.
So anything within my bubble, you just get what you get.
People don't respect their personal space. That's one thing I could always say. Like I've always been around celebrities my entire life. Coming from Miami, you meet them all the time. You be around them. I never was that person where I'm like, let me take a picture with you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, damn, these people, like, they're tired of that. That's what they get every day. Like,
every day.
let them be. What
And
this picture gonna do?
Then when they say no, it's like, y'all want to run the social media. Oh, they a B. They just rude. They this, they that. But again,
they're people.
They are people. When they are out not wearing celebrity hat, let these people live.
Let them be normal. And it's like people don't understand that. And it's like I've always had that understanding where it's like, I'm not going to ask you to take no picture with you because it's like you're human.
At least be respectful.
Right.
Because I think there have been a lot of celebrity encounters I've had and I got a picture.
Mm-hmm.
There's been quite a few where I was just like, I'm just going to share this experience verbally without having a picture to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that, hey, I seen this person, they was here. This is what happened. But every moment don't warrant a picture.
Exactly. Some situations, sometimes you will get a celebrity and be like, oh, come on, let's take a picture. Like, I have pictures with celebrities, but it wasn't because I drug them down and drug them and let's take a picture. No, it was just in that moment. We got a picture together and I don't even post it. Like, they're human. They're human.
And then what is that going to do? You're going to look like every other fan who done posted a picture. It's like same celebrity, different fans. So it's just like, exactly. I rather enjoy the moment. Like that's something that I like. Like when I can speak to a celebrity's character, like I'll say Sierra. I met her many times. I think the first time, that was the only time I really fanned out because I like really love her. I was like crying and everything. Everything I said I wanted to do in front of her, couldn't even do it. Just crying.
Really?
Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Oh my God.
She had to tell me to stop crying. Still couldn't stop. I was like,
are you serious?
Full Kim K, yeah.
Oh my God.
The second time I met her was actually at an event, like when she was endorsed by Top Man, and I was a friend of mine was working the event, pulled me in, and we was just like vibing the whole time. Mind you, everybody's outside the store, can't even get in, so it's like when you have or are in these spaces with these people, it's like you kind of want to cherish that and not ruin it. Because had I fanned out then, she probably would have been like, oh my God, I'm at my event. I'm just trying to be here and do my thing. And it's like, y'all, it's too much sometimes. But it's like, by the end of that night, I think everybody was gone, just about, including the staff. It was just me, my friend, her, and her team, just sitting there chilling, taking pictures, like literally like living it up. Like I'll roll with her on a normal. So it's like, sometimes you never know what that chill, laid back will get you. Like you don't have to be so, oh my God, like sometimes just be like, oh,
relax
what's up?
And be yourself.
Yeah, because sometimes it's very that I'd be like, oh, what's up? Like I just want you to know that I know who you are. Like I want you to know that I know who you are. But it ain't always like, let me get a picture, let me do this, let me do that, let me call my homeboy, put him on FaceTime. Like it's not always that.
It's not that.
It's a time and a place.
No, definitely. But I do feel for Will because I feel like Chris Rock was disrespected, but I feel like sometimes as people, some people don't have a conscience and some people don't know what boundaries not to cross. And I think that, I don't really know what he was thinking. And a lot of times when it comes to people that I don't know, I try not to like dictate anything because you don't know what's in a person's mind. Everybody's perception is different. You know what I'm saying? We can be in the same setting, but your perception of that experience can be totally different from mine.
Yep.
And the only way I would know what your perception of it was is if I ask you,
Right.
what were you thinking? So nobody has actually sat down to ask him like, Chris Rock, why did you say that? Or how did you feel about having to say that? Because you did know that you were going to say this. How did you feel? One thing I could do is I read people really well. And when I saw his reaction, when Will got up and started walking towards the stage, I could tell he knew something bad was about to happen. He just didn't know how he was going to react.
He didn't know where it was going to go, but he knew. I think it was right after he said the joke. Like I could just tell, like how his face, he kind of like was. It was like one of those, like I hope you laugh, or
right.
I
it's a good joke. Remember,
like,
he was like, that was a good joke.
Right. He's like, I hope you're not mad, but it's like, come on now, not your people.
Yeah. He was definitely mad, and so I hope that the both of them can get past this situation. And I hope that the sanctions for Will, because I've been hearing all kind of stuff. Like I heard Whoopi was on the board of the Oscars. I didn't even know she was sitting on the board. I never even really thought about a board for the Oscars. You know what I'm saying? But it was just powerful to know within itself that one of us is sitting on that board. You know what I'm saying? That was so good to know. And I thought about it, and I was like, a lot of things happen, situations happen, and people be kind of upset about the things that happen. Sometimes when bad things happen to you, you feel like it's a bad thing. But you gain and you learn from certain things. And that experience I learned that Whippy was sitting on the board of the Oscars. I'm like, okay, girl, like that's what's up. Yes, ma'am. But they said the sanctions and everything that they're gonna come up is gonna be brutal. It's gonna be harsh. And so I was just like, I'm gonna keep him lifted. I'm gonna pray for him because he's human. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is human. And it's like when you
I don't know. It's like I think about it many different ways. Like I'm like, so what would it have been like if Jada would have got up and slapped him? Then what?
I don't think it would have been I think it would have been definitely a meme. It would have definitely been a meme. Everything's a meme now. That would have been a funny meme.
That would have been different.
It would have been so different though, because she wouldn't have been scrutinized as much.
Well,
because it's a woman hitting a man. It's not as
it would have reversed. It would have reversed it in the media.
Yeah,
it would have reversed that.
And then it's like I think about like, what if it was? And it's like I hate to go here, but it's reality. What if it was two white dudes? Then what?
Oh.
So I'm thinking, what if it was another white comedian? And then,
and Will hit.
Matter of fact,
a Caucasian comedian.
Oh,
that would have. I'm so glad he didn't do that.
That without a doubt, they would have cut the show. Show would have been done before it got started.
That would have been it.
LAPD posting something on Instagram, they would have been inside. It would have been a whole SWAT team called. No questions asked.
But they said even when the police tried to tell Chris that he could press charges, they would do. They would act on it. Now he was like, "No, I'm good."
You can't do it because he can't do it.
Because he knew. But I think I read even after everything was said and done, they talked before or right when the show ended, before they kind of went their respective ways. And I think that's something else again a lot of people don't know, because I think I've seen people like kind of scrutinize Will too, because it's like, okay, you just slapped this man, you violated him, and now you at an after party dancing with your Oscar. But it's like, again, y'all don't know what was discussed behind the scenes. If Chris was really, now we don't know if his mind gonna change or where he gonna go with this as of now, because he was like, he ain't want to talk about it. But if he was really that hurt, or if he really wanted to go there, he would have went there and filed charges right then.
I think it would have took it to a whole other level that it didn't need to go. People,
right? Yeah, ticket prices did go up.
It did. That's what they were saying.
In 24 hours, he sold like
but
a lot of tickets.
But that to me, I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the Chris Rock and the Kevin Hart, now I'm more of I like Kevin Hart too, But to me, I'm more like, Dave Chappelle,
Mhm.
Chris Rock. So I was like, hey, that's gonna be a good one, right? And to me, I thought it was gonna be sold out anyways. But I heard that people were saying when people showed up to the comedy show and he decided to say on the special he was not trying to talk about that.
Yep.
It was like, I wasted my money, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
I saw the video,
you mean
and
to
that's why
tell
I
me
was
you
like,
only
'cause
came just for that,
be
just to hear
messy.
that?
People be messy. They was like, oh, he gonna talk about it. He gonna say something. He gonna talk smack. He gonna do this. That's what they went for. They paid the price. Everybody lost, to be honest. Will lost. He's losing.
Yes.
Chris lost.
Yes.
The people lost because now y'all going to get some tea that y'all thinking finna be piping hot, and it's very iced tea.
That man
ice
is
cold.
not. Yeah, he's not
And he's
speaking
like,
on that.
He's not on that. That's not. I can tell that's not the type of person he is. Which again is why I can say that they both were wrong. They both were in a different type of headspace, and not the headspace they should have been in, because as black actors of their stature, and then for them both to be comedians, which is a small community, that's a sense of brotherhood.
Yes.
Which is why, again, it's like, even though it's not justified, it's like there was like a code that was broken there. It's like, come on, like we should be better than that.
Yeah.
So it's so many different ways to look at it. Like,
I wonder if he'd have been sitting in the back, would he been able to get up there? My thing was, dang, cuss him out. Like, I would have looked, how you notice, like, what I notice now is with the celebrities, which is a different type of celebrity now. Instagram people are celebrities, right? And to me, I'm not going to say that, but Instagram people are celebrities now. And so it's easier for you to see those people in their friendships with different actors and actresses and stuff. But back in the day, we didn't see who all mingled with each other.
Yep. Never knew until they was on the red carpet.
Exactly. So it makes me wonder, like, were they friends before? And for me, it's like, sure, they were friends. Sure, they've had, relationships. Yeah. Sure, they've been around each other. You know what I'm saying? He might not hang out at his house and stuff because you have your own circles, But I think that based off of the respect that he had for Will, I think that's what kind of made him choose not to react in any type of way, even as far as not speaking on the situation. I don't even think it has anything to do with what people are thinking. I think it's just the respect of like, okay, I don't really want to speak on the situation because it's touchy. I don't think it's because, I know I messed up. I think it's because if I talk about this and I open this up, I'm gonna open up a can of worms. It's gonna, get bigger and bigger. I think he's doing it in approach of way celebrities have always been. They kind of just like, their publicists would, tell them how to do and react to things to keep them professional. Versus when you got these Instagram, social media celebrities and they
post everything, go live.
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's okay to be private. Like, again, the conversation they had, I'm pretty sure there was a respect there where there was like, hey, this was, because how I see it, it's just an unfortunate situation for both of them. So it's just like, hey, as brothers, we just had to fight it out. I fucked up. I'm sorry, I messed up. You messed up. So let's just find an amicable way to move forward. And we gonna leave it there. Whether that be nobody's gonna talk about it, Jada not gonna talk about it. We just gonna let the hype die down, because I think in about another week or so, we probably ain't gonna hear about it no more. Because it's already starting to die down. I'm seeing everything else aside from that. Like, it's gonna go away. Like, a lot of people's attention spans are very like 1 to 2 weeks, especially when it comes to social media. If the hype don't continue to build after the second week, it's gonna die. Yeah. So I think after that, it's gonna be dead. Chris not gonna have to talk about it at another show. Will not gonna talk about it. It's just gonna be done.
And that's what I want to happen. I don't like what happened, but I want that to happen. It's like we make so many mistakes. Like, man, when I tell you, when I could think about the things that I have done, I have made mistakes in friendships, relationships, just mistakes, things that I look back on. I'm like, dang, like I could have done this differently. And I'm a person, I'm so big on accountability. Like, that's how I was raised. So when I do something, I really hold myself to this high standard and be accountable. And I like to come back and say, like, dang, I messed up. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I'm learning too about myself, like, I carry guilt when I've done something. It's like, man, I messed up on that situation. And I don't have a problem with saying, like, that was wrong. That was my bad. You know what I'm saying? And I learned from that experience. But it's like people forget that you're human.
Mhm.
People forget that. So when you're reacting to something off of emotion, that's the worst. That's the worst, feeling that we can have, that you react to, because it's temporary, and it's very like quick.
Yeah. It's very like emotions have a level. So it's like when you, like you said, when you do stuff like that and you react off of emotions, for example, the slap, like they were here and will hit rock bottom. But the thing, take another quote from another one of my favorite movies, when you hit rock bottom, ain't nowhere to go but up. So it's like, yeah, you got to learn, but it's like you have to start over. So it's like now you have to gain people trust again. You got to gain that credibility again. But at the same time, it's like when you Will Smith, it's like, child, I'm already there. I'm kind of headed out the door anyway. But it's like, in a sense, you got to look at it like you have to start over and like gain all of that again. And you never know how fast that momentum is gonna go. You may surpass where you done been already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you get knocked down, you stay down for a little bit, be like, ouch, my knee hurt. I don't like this. But it's like, you go up and just keep moving. It's like how you come back from it.
One thing they had his new show with Prince Bel-Air.
The new one, they say they cutting it.
That shit is good.
Oh yeah,
that's one
of my favorite shows.
It is good.
That's him. That's like the Snap is Uncle Phil now. You know what I'm saying? It's like Uncle Phil defending his family.
Mm-hmm.
It's dope.
Yeah.
You know how he went up to his brother, which is Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how they are about family.
Yeah.
They had to cut him off. That's deep.
Yep. I seen that episode today. I was like, dang.
I like, yo, you know how deep that is?
I knew it was coming though.
I gotta watch it. I haven't seen that.
I knew it was coming.
But I when I watched that show, I loved it. It wasn't, to me, it was a whole, because I kept seeing all the different commentary and stuff about the show. But when I finally saw it, it was different from what we were used to. But it was like our version of it. You know what I mean? Like it was for us.
They made it current. Like they were able to take elements from the original, but make it like current day. And I was like, because it was like every episode, it's like I'm sitting, I'm like, oh, I know where they was pulling this from, like the storyline, even the minor changes, like with like Hillary and Jazz liking each other, or with Carlton and Lisa actually having a relationship. It's like at first it's just like, wait, what? But then when you think about it, it's like Hillary and Jazz didn't like each other in the original.
Right, they didn't.
Well, Jazz liked Hillary.
She didn't like him.
With him. But it's like, I like the spin that they're giving. With Carlton and Lisa, that one was more like relatable, because in the original, Carlton did actually like Lisa. And Will came through and kind of swept her up.
Yeah.
So I like how they gave it a drama aspect by putting it to the point of, okay, we just gonna have you coming in and taking his eggs. Because not everybody really gonna be like, oh, what's going on?
And even like the way that the young Will now, like how he keeps himself together in a lot of the situations that overcome, and it's like, I'm like, dang, like you looking at how Carlton is like pulling his strings, messing with him, doing things, and it's like he not even telling on him.
Oh, it's like that's true blood family type stuff.
Hold on, yeah, epiphany. That's what just happened.
Yeah.
That's what just happened. Like in the episode, like the first two episodes, like when Will was in that environment with those people, Carlton was kind of like getting at him, and it's like, okay, I know I don't need to react, but this time I'm feeling I'm gonna go for it. Same with the Oscars. Like, okay, we in a room with all these people. You get indirectly disrespecting me by disrespecting my wife, but it's like still, it's like that essence of disrespect. So it's like, I know I probably shouldn't, but it's like this how I'm feeling, so I gotta do something. So all of that, it's like, in a way, it's like it's there. The message is there, and I think I heard somebody say that this was also something similar written in his book, where it's like he watched his mom be disrespected a lot by his dad and like by other men. So for him to sit and watch another man disrespect his wife, which he, set out a goal to never do, it's just like, It was almost like a trigger. So it's like, nah, I gotta.
And Denzel said it best. You got different devils at different levels. Well, he didn't say that, but he said that to that extent. Like, I just summed it up, but that's what he was saying. Yes, different devils, different levels. Yes, it's true though. Like it's so funny. Like yesterday, I was like spending time with my grandma, and I haven't seen her in like months since she's like relocated, moved, and we had like our talk or whatever. And I was describing the situation to her, and I was like, like with me, I'm very spiritual. I pray and I talk to God about everything. And I was like, I was asking God for a sign, and this was the sign that I got. And she was like, that's not a sign from God. She was like, what? God doesn't react. God doesn't give you a sign like that. That's the devil. And it just made me like my whole drive from Destin, Florida to back to Atlanta. It was just like puzzling in my mind. And I was thinking, and I'm like, when you get to certain levels and you go on certain places and you're trying to accomplish certain goals, she was like, that could be the devil trying to stop you from what God actually wants you to be.
Yep, distraction.
Yes. And it's like, that's why it's like you gotta know your purpose. You gotta center yourself. You gotta stay balanced. You gotta stay prayed up, because it's so many different things and elements that come at you. Like this man was getting nominated. He was nominated for an Oscar. He won the Oscar. And look where he is right now. In his most valued time, the most important in his career. Now he's being scrutinized for his behavior.
Yeah. Like I said, when, I had my moment, and it's like, you get so used to being on go, doing all these different things. Will is so used to being the good dad, the good husband, the direct.
So in closing, I am going to ask you guys to make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow. Make sure you follow who underscore is Sammy Austin, who is underscore Sammy Austin. Great individual, a good friend of mine, very talented. Just make sure that you guys follow, like, share, subscribe. Jaibella Beauty Bar on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you guys have a good night. That was good.